Very good afternoon. Today we are going to see the second lecture on Arm matrix or Danavitt-Hartenberg representation. In the previous lecture we were talking about what are the kinematic parameters and how the Danavitt-Hartenberg has reduced to 4 kinematic parameters, which we call joint and link parameters. But since I attempted that in the same day, so I thought better to continue with transformation matrix obtained through Danavitt-Hartenberg approach. That's why this particular lecture I am posting in the same day. So we'll see little further. So this particular lecture would be giving idea behind how we can get one frame to another frame you call information with the help of 4 kinematic transformation matrices. So in the sense we are going to do 4 transformations here. So there would be 2 transformations related to translation. There would be 2 transformations related to rotation. But before going to see this, so let us start with recapping what we have already. So what we have done in the last class we were talking about Danavitt-Hartenberg kinematic parameter. In general, one body to another body you need actually like 6 parameter to define in 3-dimensional space. But if we take certain assumption, then we can reduce that 6 into, you can say, 4. So these 4 parameters what we call Danavitt-Hartenberg parameter. Hereafter in this particular course, simply kinematic parameters means there are 4 which are actually like come with 2 associated with link and 2 associated with the joint. So these are the 4 parameters we are going to see. So in that sense, we are going to see little more detail about how one frame to another frame we can actually like go across with these 4 parameters. So when we obtain that, we will get one final transformation matrix, that is what we are going to call Arm matrix. Then in the end we would be seeing that the same representation can be done in several forms. So there are 2 popular forms. One we call standard DH representation, the other one is non-standard DH representation. So unfortunately this course we are going to focus the non-standard DH representation. In the sense this throughout this course we are going to represent non-standard way. So why it is standard and non-standard, that is we are going to see in this particular lecture in detail. Okay. So let me come back what we have seen as kinematic parameter, that too like a Danavitt-Hartenberg kinematic parameter. So there are several assumptions. I am just recalling those assumptions one by one for your own understanding. One assumption that so we are going to use right hand rule. The second assumption says that the right hand rule would be having orthogonal axis which is going to be associated with your coordinate frame, and the positive rotation we will be considered with the you call the again right hand rule. In addition to that, as per the Danavitt-Hartenberg approach, the first assumption is that the link would be having you can say maximum, not maximum, because generally it is 2. Maximum, why I said 2, because the ground would be having one joint, and similarly the end effector also would be having only one joint. In the sense maximum given any link would be having 2 joints. So in the sense we would be saying that the link is a binary link. This is the first assumption. The second assumption is each joint would be having only one, you can say, relative motion. In the sense either it can be translate or rotate. So in the sense all other 5 motions are restricted. So the constraints are actually like 5 restrictions and one you can say allowable motion. So in that sense we are bringing down to the you can say joint is 1D of joint. So the 1D of joint either it is a rotation or translation. So further assumption says that the links are actually like accumulate in actually like piled up in a you can say series. So one by one you are going to stack. In the sense the joint information would be describing 2 consecutive links. So in the sense the joint axis we associated with Z axis. So now there are 2 other axes are left. So one is the X axis, the other one is Y axis. When you talk about binary link, so one joint to another joint, the information would be coming from the link. So one of the easiest way to describe that, you take one of the link and you put one joint here, another joint. So this is going to be in a right hand side. So that is we can simply represent in the you can say one of the easiest axis is X axis. In the sense we are going to talk about only X and Y axis, X and Z axis. We will not be talking about Y axis. Okay. So in that sense you can see that the relative information about joints, that would be link parameter, relative information about you can say two links, that is what we call joint parameters. So let's start with the link parameter. This is a recap. So we'll take one link, and this link is having two joint, but unfortunately these two joints are actually like distance apart and as well as rotated apart. So if this is the given link k, you can say link I minus 1, so then this link I minus 1 would be having I minus 1 axis and ith axis. So the ith axis, the joint axis associated with zi, and I minus 1 axis associated with zi minus 1. So now you can see that these two axes are actually like distance apart and as well as angle apart. Now if I could actually like draw a common normal between these two axes, so now that line of the common normal is related to your, you call rotation axis. For example, now this is one joint and this is another joint. What would be the rotation axis? So the perpendicular to these two axes. So that's why we are drawing the common normal. So now we can actually like assign the, you can say positive direction of this axis, you call xi minus 1, in the sense the distance supposed to be described in terms of positive axis or positive, you can say quantity. So that is one of the important aspect. So now I fix xi minus 1. Now about xi minus 1, if I rotate zi minus 1 to zi, so that is what you call a link twist, because this is what your zi minus 1, this is what your zi, and you are rotating and making parallel. So this angle called link twist angle. So since this is actually like represented alpha, but it is rotated about I minus 1 axis, so that's what it is called alpha I minus 1. So now the link twist angle is nothing but the angle between zi minus 1 to zi measured about xi minus 1. You can be clear. So anything related to link, it is about or along x. Anything related to joint, that would be about or along z axis. Okay. So now there is another which is actually like information is missing. That is nothing but the positional information. So here we can call link length, in the sense the distance between, you call I minus 1 frame to I frame along xi minus 1, that is what you call the distance, right? This distance is nothing but here as a geometrical parameter, so we call link length. So I already told the link length cannot be negative, it can be maximum 0. That's why we are putting this xi minus 1 along the positive direction of the translation. So now this is A, but since we are actually like translating about or along I minus 1 axis, so that's why it is A I minus 1. And you all know, like since we are talking about the variable as joint, so obviously in that case, so these two parameters are fixed. So this is one you can say case. So now we'll move to the second case. So the second case is actually like a joint parameter. You can see this is a link I minus 1 and this is link I, and now you can see that these two links are actually like associated with two planes, and these two planes are actually like offset distance, and the axis of x, if these two links are actually like oriented apart, or you can say rotated apart. So now this rotation we can actually like see some kind of common normal, so which is what you call the joint axis. So the zi is the joint axis. About the zi, you are rotating the xi minus 1 to make it parallel to xi. So this angle what you call joint angle. Okay. So this angle we call joint angle, that is we are denoting as theta. Since we are rotating about zi, so it is theta I. So it is nothing but angle between xi minus 1 to xi measured about zi. Okay. So now what is the remaining information? That is nothing but you call joint distance, or simply we call offset distance. It is nothing but the distance measured, or is the distance from xi minus 1 to xi measured along zi. So anything joint parameter, that would be, you can say theta I and di, this is measured with zi, and anything related to link parameter, that is alpha I minus 1 and a minus 1. So this is measured about xi minus 1. Okay. So that you keep in your mind. So now these are the two you can say subclasses of kinematic parameter. One is you call joint parameter, the other one is you call link parameter. And you know, like a joint is 1 degree of freedom joint. So in that sense, either joint angle or joint distance would be a variable. So if you talk about prismatic joint, in the sense it's a translation joint, so then the joint distance is the variable. If it is actually like a rotary joint, so then the joint angle is the variable. Okay, so that you can actually like make it clear. So now we'll move forward. So we are taking a, you can say, random serial manipulator. I am focusing one of the, you can say, specific link called link I-1. So this link I-1 is actually like associated, or you can say attached with the link I-2 and link I, right? So now if you are seeing this link I-1, you can see that this is a binary link. So obviously you can see that there is two joints. So one joint I am associating with the I-1 axis. So the other joint is actually like ith axis. But now I want to know the information from this point we call I-1 frame, and this information I am calling ith frame. So I want to know the information from this to this or this to this. So one of the easiest thing is actually like I want to know the information of I with respect to I-1. I call this is what I am interested. I want to find out the transformation matrix of I with respect to I-1. So this is what my interest. So in order to get this clarity, I am actually like taking this part. So in the sense I am taking as a focus link K-1 and link K. In the sense I am actually like focusing I-1 axis to ith axis. So in the sense I am actually like coming with the clear view. So this is link I-1 that is having, you can see there are two things. One is I-1 axis and ith axis, and I am fixing the frame in such a way that ith frame is here and I-1 frame here. And whatever the I-1 axis, that is a joint axis, I am fixing as z axis. So in the sense this is zi and this is zi-1. Okay. So now what we can actually like see, since we don't know further information about what would be zi-1, so we assume that the xi is going like this. So now what we wanted to know, we want to know the ith information, we call transformation matrix of I with respect to I-1. This is what I wanted. So what we can do, we can use the DH parameters. So in the sense you can do 4 transformations and we can uptype. So what we are going to do, we can see. We are actually like trying to travel from here to here in series of action. The first action, what we can see, we can actually like try to make it both axes are parallel. So but what is actually like your interest, I am actually like seeing what is ith axis information. In the sense I am trying to make it parallel my zi-1 axis to zi. In the sense I am actually like drawing a you can say common normal between these two, and I am actually like associating with one axis on the positive direction. That is what I am calling xi-1. In the sense when I am representing this xi-1, I have to see that this is actually like normal to both zi-1 and zi. Okay, in the sense you take a plane where you can see this zi and zi-1 is actually like associated. Now you take the normal to that plane, that is the axis of xi-1, and you take the positive direction of that is the, you can say, positive direction of xi. So in the sense you can see that this can go this way or this way, but we are not taking this and we are taking this. That is what I want to say here. So now I make a common normal and I fix the xi-1. What we can do the next, so you can see what is the, you can say, angle. So in the sense I am taking the zi parallel. So now how much angle I need to rotate about xi-1, that is what I call twist angle. In the sense you can see the next slide. So you can see I am taking a parallel and I am rotating about xi-1, the zi-1 parallel to zi. So now you can see that only one transformation I have done, which is nothing but rotation about xi-1. The angle is actually like alpha. Here the positive angle we have taken. So what happened? So it is actually like zi and zi-1 parallel. So now I don't want to give the same name. So I am saying that the parallel axis with respect to zi and zi-1 now parallel, I am giving another name called zp. In the sense zi-1 coincide with zp if I rotate this. Okay, so that is what the meaning. So now in that sense what we have done, we have actually like taken zp as the parallel axis along, or you can say parallel to zi, and I am taking zi-1, I am rotating to make it parallel. So in the sense this I actually like fix it. Now I am trying to rotate in such a way that do it. So this is the first operation I have done. So what is that? So in the sense this is actually like 1, 0, 0 and 0, then 0. So cos alpha I-1 and sine minus sine alpha minus 1 and 0, then 0 sine alpha minus 1 and cos alpha minus 1 and 0 and 0 0 0 1. This is what the transformation matrix which would be coming here. You all agree. So now what we have done only one thing. So we are trying to make it zi minus 1, make it parallel to zi, and we are giving a new frame called, you can say, P frame. Now the P frame and you can say I minus 1 frame is actually like only difference is it is rotated about, you can say xi minus 1 and an angle of alpha I minus 1. That's all. Now we will move forward. What we got it. So we got it one thing, the axis of xi minus 1 we already got it, and we can see that the P frame and the I frame on the or along the axis of xi minus 1 there is a distance, right? This distance we can try to cover. In the sense I am trying to move along xi minus 1, try to hit this axis of zi. So what we can do now, I can do a transformation. So here the transformation is just nothing but a translation. So I am translating the P frame in the sense, so xp and you call this xp and this is zp. I am actually like moving this into, and you can say the axis of zi, and I am hitting wherever the point that I am calling a new, you can say, frame called q. Now the q and p are just a distance apart. It's nothing but a translation. In the sense, what translation we have done? It is only x translation, right? So in the sense the rotation matrix is identity, and you can see the scaling also 1. Now what you have done, this a I minus 1 distance translated along x, and y and z are 0, right? So this is what the second operation you have done. Now you can see the q and p are just x-axis displacement. That's all. Now you can see q and I frame are actually like in the same line, but they are actually like a distance apart, and as well as the xq and xi are actually like oriented apart. So what one can think, we can actually like try to see what would be the parallel to xi, and you can try to rotate about this zi axis. So now you will get a new frame. That frame I call R. Okay. So now what happened, I am actually like taking zr as the parallel to zi, but what I can see, I am trying to rotate xq and trying to make it parallel to xi. So this angle called joint angle. So this is nothing but theta I, but here it is actually like what you can see that it is actually like about zr. I am rotating xq to parallel, or you can say coincide with xr. So this is what I am doing. The next operation is actually like with respect to z axis. So what operation I have done? I have done the operation as a rotation. So this is what you will get it. Okay, so then it is actually like cos theta I and minus sin theta I, and this is sin theta I and cos theta I. Okay, so this is what going to be your transformation matrix. But now what is the difference between q and r frame? This is only rotated about z axis. Now you can see that xr and xi are parallel, and zi and zr are parallel, but zr, or you can say r frame and I frame, are just offsetted. So now I can actually like travel up. So that is what I call joint distance or offset distance. What I will get, I will actually like coincide ith frame. So in the sense, the fourth operation what I have done, I am actually like rotating about, you can say, z axis that I have done. Now what I am trying to do, I am just trying to do that r frame I am taking, and I am translating along zi and trying to meet the ith frame. That's all. So in the sense, I am taking a di distance. So in the sense, I am taking a translation along a z axis. So in the sense, so this is what happening, and so this is what the transformation matrix. So now what we have done 4 transformations. So the first transformation about xi minus 1, we have rotated about xi minus 1 to make it parallel zi minus 1 and zi. So that angle called alpha, this angle. Then you can see that the new frame has come P. The P and I frame is actually like distance apart along x-axis. So I translated along x-axis. That is what the translation distance is, ai minus 1. Then now there is a new coordinate frame has come, that is q. The q and I frame are actually like oriented apart and distance apart. So I rotated about zi and get the angle called joint distance angle, joint angle theta I. So now the Q frame become R frame. Now R and I are just distance apart. I translated along Z axis. So in the sense what I did, first transformation I done with X axis rotation. So this is what the X axis rotation transformation matrix. The second transformation I have done X axis translation. That is what happening here. So the third operation I did rotation about theta, rotation about Z axis with an angle of theta. This is what Z axis rotation, and fourth one is Z axis translation. So now one can ask, so what is the way of actually like making it this? So definitely this is one of the questions. So this is the way the Danawit-Artenberg represented, in the sense you actually like first rotate about X, then translate about along X, and then rotate about Z and translate along Z. So in the sense you will get one particular representation. This is what we call non-standard. Why it is non-standard will come back. Whereas if you are doing the other way around, you are actually like first rotate about Z axis and then translate about Z axis and rotate about X axis and translate about X axis. Then this is a standard Danawit-Artenberg representation. Then the matrix would be different. So then this is the first operation, and this is the second operation, and this is third operation, and this is the fourth operation. So you know, like here what we did all the transformation with respect to the mobile frame or moved frame. So in the sense, or body frame. In the sense we have to post multiply. So we can see that what is our interest transformation matrix of I with respect to I minus 1. What first we did? First we rotated about X. Then we have then translated about X along X. Then rotated about Z and translated along Z. So in the sense we are actually like putting post multiplication. So you substitute these individual matrix and you post multiply, you will get the final matrix like this. So this particular matrix what we call ARM matrix. Okay. So now this ARM matrix is actually like having a you can see not exactly unique. So based on what transformation you have done. So here we have done X, you can see rotation, then X translation, then Z rotation and Z translation. Okay, so this way we have done and we got this matrix. So most of the textbook would be having this form. Some of the textbooks would be having another form. That's why I want to describe what is standard and non-standard. You can see now. So this is what we call standard Danawit-Artenberg parameter, in the sense you take ith frame and you can see, so you are actually like looking I minus 1 frame to I frame what the rotation is supposed to be. So this is xi minus 1 and this is xi. You are first rotate about this. So now we are doing along or about, you can say zi minus 1. But what the variable you are doing, actually like you are trying to make xi minus 1 parallel to xi. So that's what it is called theta I. So that's the first operation. Then you can see that these two are actually like distance apart. So that distance I am trying to cover, in the sense xi minus 1 and xi are actually like distance apart, or I minus 1 frame to I frame is having a distance along zi minus 1 I am trying to cover. So that is the second operation I am done. So the third operation, you can see that this is what my I frame, and there is a I minus 1, I plus 1 frame is there. So how these two frame are actually like distance apart, and what is the angle you can say about the axis. So now you can see that zi minus 1 and zi is actually like having an angle of, you call alpha I. So that is what we are doing the next one, and then we are actually like moving the final one. So now why it is actually like called standard, because everything we have written in the ith form. Okay, and we are actually like seeing ith, you can say representation with respect to I minus 1. This all agree. So in the sense, this is what your ith axis and this is what your I minus 1 axis, but you are actually like trying to cover it. So now what we are actually like seeing further here, actually like you can see that I minus 1 axis you are rotating about I minus 1 and along is that I minus 1. That is what you can say theta I and di. So in the sense you have actually like I minus 1 frame, but you are representing your kinematic parameter as ith parameter. This is a little bit confusion. This confusion will not be there when you are representing in a non-standard form. You can see that this is I minus 1, you can say frame, and this is ith frame. And what you are doing is actually like you are seeing that ith frame and I minus 1 frame, this is actually like rotation angle, that is what you call alpha I minus 1, and this distance is actually like what you call a I minus 1, and you will be reaching this ith frame, then you are actually like going further. So this is what we have done. So now you can see that this is what you call non-standard. Why it is non-standard? You have a mixed of I minus 1 and ith, you can say, variable. In the sense, when I want to show in a matrix form, you can see that the standard form everything in terms of I, whereas the non-standard you can see that I and I minus 1 is mixed. So that is the basic difference, and actually like the choice of you call standard and non-standard is up to the individual, but we are actually like taking the non-standard for this course, whereas there is a definitely there is a benefit. So what benefit? You are actually like not going to get any confusion. So if you are rotating about I minus 1 frame, you take that is alpha I minus 1, or along xi minus 1, then there is a I minus 1. You don't have any confusion. And it is actually like represented rightly because you are looking about the ith frame information with respect to I minus 1. So it is definitely agreed upon. So because the joint variable is actually like happening on the particular joint, but this link parameter is actually like with respect to the previous, you can say, joint. So that is what the indirect mode, in the sense you are taking these two are the body, and now you are actually looking these two body, how it is actually like, you can say, distance apart or angle apart, that you are actually like representing in the individual joint or the corresponding joint. That's why you are writing theta and di. So this is valid. Whereas you are seeing that the link parameter is actually like with respect to previous joint to the current joint, this information is actually like I minus 1th link. So then you have to represent alpha I minus 1, a I minus 1. So in the sense, this is actually like valid for our course. So that's why we are actually like taking into that case. So the advantage of non-standard DH method is the rotation theta I around the you call zi. Okay. So that is actually like one of the easiest. You fix the motor, that is the first joint, first motor, whatever that is, you can directly give into your actuator. Whereas if you are using a standard form, you take I minus 1th motor, but you say ith rotation. So it is little bit confusing, right? That's what we are actually like seeing. When you are applying the control logic, you can see the actuation force would be joint I, but the coordinate frame would be a previous frame. That is what the idea began. So then you can see that the link geometrical characteristic such as center of gravity are more natural in the system. So we can definitely take forward. For example, I am taking the I minus 1 actually like axis or I minus 1 link. So then this is actually like the coordinate frame I can represent in I minus 1 itself, right? This is possible. And the disadvantage of non-standard is it is mixed of I minus 1 and I. So you have to recall what it is. That's why I said if it is a link parameter, it is xi minus 1. If it is a joint parameter, that is zi. So in the sense, this would be having alpha I minus 1 and a I minus 1. This would be having theta I and the I. Okay. So these are the things, and you can actually like take it forward. As I already told, applying the standard or non-standard notation is a personal preference, but both are actually like effective. But in this lecture or in this course, we are going to use only non-standard notation. Okay. So if you have any queries on the standard notation, you can definitely write, because most of the textbooks would be having standard form of notation or standard form of representation. You please don't get it confused. It is very easy to understand, in the sense you are standing on ith frame and you are looking everything in terms of ith, you can say, frame itself. So but the frame representation in the case of the joint axis, that would be represented in I minus 1 axis. That is the only confusion in the standard form. Whereas non-standard form, you are actually like traveling from I minus 1 frame to I frame in a sequence of motion. That's what we have seen in the Danavitt-Artenberg representation. So in the sense, you are actually like seeing these two are actually like I minus 1 and I. You are actually like traveling, first rotate about x, then translate about x, then rotate about z and translate about along z. This is what you are doing. In the sense, you are actually like progressing in the way and doing it. Whereas the standard one, you are actually like standing in I minus 1 frame and you are seeing ith frame and say that this is what your ith axis and this is what your I minus 1th axis. So how much rotation supposed to be done with respect to your joint, and then what is the distance I supposed to travel. Then you will actually like see the next case. So that is what we are actually like trying to do. So in the sense, this is actually like your joint I minus 1th axis, and this is actually like ith axis, and you will see what the transformation you need to do it. Okay. So in the sense, you are actually like seeing as a progression in the standard form. So you can see non-standard form, you are traveling. That is what the difference. So I hope it may actually like give a little bit confusion. Probably in the live class tomorrow, we will definitely get it clarified. And somebody who is actually like listening only YouTube videos, then probably I will post one of the short video on this with the example, then you can get a clarity. Okay. So with that, I'm actually like closing this particular lecture with the shortcoming of the Danawit-Artenberg method. So this Danawit-Artenberg method definitely cannot extend to a higher joint. So in the sense, higher degrees of freedom you have to consider as n number of 1 degree of freedom joint, even that can be done, but the DH notation cannot be extended straight away to a ternary or you can say complex compound links. So we know like Danawit-Artenberg gave an assumption that it's supposed to be a binary link. If you take one link, that should have only 2 joints. If it is having a 3 joint, then you have to take a virtual 2 links. Although it's a single link, virtually you have to consider as 2 links. For example, you have 2 links, or you can say like 3 joints like this. So now you have to take, this is one virtual link and this is another virtual link, but physically there is one link. So similarly, you have a spherical joint. So you have to actually like consider 3, you can say joint axis, and then you have to approach 3 different frames. So this is one thing, but the real shortcoming is actually like, for example, you have Zi minus 1 and Zi are parallel. You can get n number of common normals, right? In the sense, the joint distance can be described in n number of way, right? So in the sense, definitely the geometric variable which you call the joint distance and the link length, that definitely may give some kind of headache, especially the joint distance is actually like describing is difficult. For example, this is what my first joint, and this is the first joint, this is connecting with this link and this link. Can I actually like take it this or this? So 0 di or di is actually like any distance, right? So that way it is having a singularity in the sense. So there are several other disadvantages that we will discuss in the next class. So now with that, I'm actually like closing this particular lecture. So please go through this lecture again and again. If you have any doubt, you please let me know through email or WhatsApp, so that we can post a discussion video on that. Otherwise, we will see in the live session tomorrow. See you then. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.